A young, flamboyant batter was bursting onto the scene in the late 2000s. Now, he had already made his debut in the ODI format for the Indian team. His name was already doing the rounds in the Indian domestic circles, and here he found himself making his debut in the T20I format in Zimbabwe against Zimbabwe, with his team precariously placed at 48 for 4, needing another 70-80 runs to win that match. He was supported by Yusuf Pathan, and from there, both of them bailed the team out of trouble and took the team home. Now, for an amateur 20-21-year-old player to approach this situation in a way that he would play a part in bailing the team out of trouble and then staying unbeaten till the end to make sure that he takes the team to the winning side. Now that's the maturity you look in a player when you are trying to select that player for the first choice Indian team, and that's where this player stood out. Now, when you talk about pressure situations, you talk about executing things at the correct moment. This is where Virat Kohli stood out. This man was yet again none other than Virat Kohli. Now, Virat Kohli is a man for the big situations. He always stood out when his team needed him. And whenever you talk about these bigger tournaments, whenever you talk about these pressure situations, playing against the bigger oppositions, you talk about ICC tournaments. And whenever you talk about ICC tournaments in the T20I format, you talk about ICC T20 World Cups. Virat played his first ICC T20 World Cup in 2012, wherein he earned his first man of the match in the very first match, made his mark by scoring a 50 against Afghanistan, and then came the big match against arch rivals Pakistan. And people, the general audience that are the viewers of the Indian cricket or the cricket in general, they always tend to remember these performances whenever you perform against arch rivals Pakistan, because this is a match with everything at stake. Virat Kohli yet again rose to the occasion, scored 78 unbeaten runs, and made sure that he was continuously performing such that he was making a mark on world cricket, not only for the Indian team but for himself as well. Now, Indian team did not have a good campaign that season, and you can still recall those crying visuals from Virat Kohli when he learned that the team could not qualify for the knockouts anymore. India bowed out of that tournament, did not enter the knockouts, and then in the 2014 T20 World Cup, Virat Kohli was a mature young man, having performed brilliantly in the ODIs. That Hobart innings you would recall, or the fastest 100 that he has scored in Jaipur in 2013 against Australia, with India chasing that huge total of 360 pretty easily. So Virat Kohli was there to stay. In the 2014 World Cup, again he continued his rich vein of form till the semi-finals, but again in the semi-finals against probably the best bowling attack of the tournament, consisting of Dale Steyn, Vernon Philander, Imran Tahir, he performed at his best. He scored an unbeaten 72 and took his team home and made sure that they qualified for the finals, and Indians were dreaming that they would achieve their second T20 World Cup trophy. In the finals, it was a very low scoring final, and India only scored 130 on the scoreboard, out of which 78 was scored by Virat Kohli. Now, India could not get over the line in that T20 World Cup final, and again it was a disappointment for every Indian player and every Indian man that was seeing that match. Virat Kohli was again the standout player throughout the whole tournament, and he earned the player of the tournament award as well. Now, come 2016, Virat Kohli is a transformed man. He is as invincible as a player can be in any season. Just before the tournament in the IPL, he had a blast of an IPL wherein he scored 973 runs, a feat that has not been matched till date, in which he single-handedly took RCB to the final. And in the final as well, at one point it seemed like RCB were destined to win that IPL season, but somehow Sunrisers Hyderabad spoiled their party, and Virat Kohli was yet again left a disappointed man. But in the T20 World Cup, he was again performing in pressure situations, as he had already made a habit of in the first match. Not in the first match, maybe in the initial matches against Pakistan at Eden Gardens, Indian team found himself at 24 for 3, yet again in trouble, chasing a modest total, but they needed someone to step up, and who better than Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli stayed there, hit his shots, took risks at valuable time at the correct time, and he scored an unbeaten 50. And you could recall those visuals of him bowing down to Sachin Tendulkar in the stands, paying a tribute to him, and Sachin duly acknowledged at that point. In the quarterfinals as well, in Mohali against Australia, Indian team was at an even Steven circumstance where Virat Kohli stepped up and made sure that he dominated Australia rather than being dominated by Australia. So it's a counter Australian thing that Virat Kohli always possesses, and that's where you see that emotional Virat Kohli come out after he won that match for India. People still remember every shot that he played in that match against Australia, and you could see that those emotions coming out of his face, and his body language was such that he knew that he could do anything in that season. Moving on to the semi-finals, it was seeming like a dream run for the Indian team after they lost their first match against New Zealand in that T20 World Cup. It seemed like it was India's trophy already. In the semi-finals, Virat Kohli yet again performed in the first innings. He scored an unbeaten 89, but then in the second innings, there were lapses in the field, a few no balls here and there. Though Virat Kohli again chipped in with wickets, but in the end, he was the bowler who was hit for the six that sealed the victory for the West Indian team. Virat Kohli was left distraught. His face oozed despair, his face oozed disappointment, and he could not believe that he was not able to do it for his team. India again, out of their own tournament, could not win that ICC T20 trophy, and the quest for the ICC trophy continued. The T20 World Cup didn't happen for the next 3 to 4 years. It came back in 2021, but just before that, Virat Kohli announced that he would give up the T20 captaincy of the Indian team after this World Cup is over. It came as a shock to many, but then it was Virat Kohli's decision. And somehow, just before the T20 World Cup, there were talks about his lean phase in the T20 format. He was not able to score runs with the kind of consistency that he was doing earlier. So there were already many debates going around, and come the first match, he scored a 50 against the arch rivals, the big match, and he again rose up to the occasion. But as they say, we do not recall that scoreline fondly with fond memories, and yeah, it was again a forgettable tournament for India because India were placed in a comparatively lesser competitive group, but still could not progress to the semi-finals of that tournament, and that was the biggest disappointment. Maybe India were a very good team, but they did not play as a unit, which led to them being knocked out just before the knockouts of that tournament. Virat Kohli himself wasn't able to do justice, nor with his captaincy, nor with his batting form. So yeah, that was again a tournament to forget for the Indian team. Come the 2022 World Cup, Rohit Sharma was named the captain, and Virat Kohli was the batter to watch out for because he was just back in form, scoring a T20 100, his first in the T20I format just before the T20 World Cup in the T20 Asia Cup against Afghanistan. Now Virat Kohli yet again was the man to watch out for when it came to the pressure situations. India were placed at 31 for 4, chasing 160 against a bowling lineup consisting of the likes of Haris Rauf, Naseem Shah, Mohammad Nawaz, Shadab Khan. You would expect any team to crumble under pressure when your team is 31 for 4. But here, Virat Kohli makes sure that he plays second fiddle, makes sure that he anchors the innings, makes sure that he takes the game till the deep, and when you need 28 of the last 8 balls with Haris Rauf's last 2 balls remaining of his spell, what do we expect? A pacer's bowling with the speed of 150 clicks every now and then. Do we expect any batter to hit him for 2 sixes? No, you can't. But there, you just know that Virat Kohli has got it in him to do that. Virat Kohli goes out of the ground, Virat Kohli goes down the ground. These words by Harsha Bhogle will be etched in every Indian fan's memory, and the visuals of the shots that you are trying to visualize now are the very shots that make Virat Kohli the player that he is. Nobody could hit that ball for a 6, but a player of Virat Kohli's caliber, a player of Virat Kohli's mental strength could do it. And he did it. He hit those 2 balls for 2 sixes and eventually won the match for India. That innings of him scoring an unbeaten 82 is an innings for the ages to remember. That's an innings that will go into the history books as one of the best innings, if not the best, in the history of the T20I format. Yet again, moving on to the other matches for that World Cup, he scored a 50 against South Africa. He scored yet another 15 against England in the semi-finals of that World Cup, but India again fell short as they were hammered by England by 10 wickets, and you could see the emotions on the faces of the Indian players as well, with Rohit Sharma bursting into tears on that very night. India's quest for that T20 trophy continued, and it reached the shores of the Caribbean and the US, wherein India were again deemed as one of the favourites to clinch the trophy, as they are every time when an ICC trophy is upon us. Now, you expect Virat Kohli to perform every match in the ICC T20 World Cup, right? Because he has been doing it from the word go. But first match, second match, third match, fourth match, fifth match, sixth match, seventh match, Virat Kohli does not perform. Virat Kohli is falling short of runs. Virat Kohli's aggressive intent is costing him the consistency that he has been known for. Now, just after the semi-finals are over, Rohit Sharma has asked the question about Virat Kohli's form, and he says that the intent that Virat Kohli has showed is good, and Virat Kohli is probably saving it for the finals. Because you know that in pressure situations, when the occasion is bigger, when the team needs you to perform, Virat Kohli will always stand up. Against South Africa in the finals, Virat Kohli got off to a very good start, hitting 3 fours in the very first over, but then wickets falling very quickly. India were precariously placed yet again at 45 for 3 in the power play itself, and here's Virat Kohli knowing what to do in that situation, because he has already done everything, he has seen everything, he has been there every time, he has conquered that every time. He knew what to do in that situation. He played very watchfully there. He anchored the innings at first. He scored an half century in 48 deliveries, and when he saw that he had to attack, he made sure that he picked his bowlers, attacked them, and finished on 76 of 59 deliveries, which would prove pivotal and very important in India winning that World Cup. He was awarded the player of the match for his antics in that World Cup final, but just after India won the final, just when he was handed the player of the match trophy, he broke the news, and of course broke many Indian fans' hearts, that he would not be playing this T20I format for India in the coming years. That is a news that he broke, and it somehow subdued the celebrations, because people would not get to watch Virat Kohli in the India T20I colours from now on. But just got to celebrate this man. Just how he has conducted himself, just how he, despite being in the spotlight for the most of his career, he just finds a way to appreciate his teammates, appreciate the efforts that they take, because he knows that without his teammates, his contributions are just another set of runs. But he should know that if his contributions would not have been there at the correct point of time, India would not have been placed in situations that they are placed now. He has given fans so many memories to cherish. He has given fans so many memories to celebrate, so many moments to celebrate. He deserves the best treatment from the fans that's ever been given to a legend, right? That's Virat Kohli for you. But now there's another set of young players who are in Zimbabwe. Who knows that series that's going on in Zimbabwe would unearth another diamond and make sure that we celebrate yet another player in 10 to 15 years to come. And this player just serves Indian cricket to an extent that Virat Kohli has done. Celebrating the legend, Virat Kohli.